Okay, so I was staying last night in bed, and I started to get to a place of more clarity, um, related to this experience and to the nature of this experience. So check this out. My voice right now, the words I'm speaking, this environment, everything is like a scene in a video game. This is nothing new, it has been said many, many times, but check this out. This entire world that we perceive with our five senses is like a video game. It's like a world, an environment inside a video game. And for sure, it has actions, it has characters, it has stories, it has a play going on. And not only that it has a play, it has multiple stories, multiple plays. This entire video game, is the entire creation. So it's not only a single universe inside creation or a single mind or a single world, it's the totality of it. The totality of creation is a video game. It's creation in and of itself is like a platform of video games. So the creation acts like a platform in which video games are created and experienced. And you can have multiple video games, similar to how in this reality you can see that you can have millions of different video games that you can play, from fantasy to battle ones to RPG to whatever. The themes can be endless, and there are constantly ever new video games created. Right. So now imagine that you have put a VR helmet on and you have entered into this space, into this platform of video games. You, at first, when you enter this platform, you just put the VR helmet on and you access the platform, right? You don't have yet, you haven't yet picked a video game. But then you can pick one or more video games and you can insert yourself in multiple video games. But the idea is that at the first time when you put that VR helmet on, you're in the video game already. But you're not yet maybe in a certain story or in a certain active play, but you are already inside the virtual world of creation. So some spirits, some beings can decide to enter into creation, and maybe they just surf the video games. They are not playing, they are just inactive, passive, just looking at others playing, but they are there in creation. They're having their VR helmet on. And others can decide to be active engagers of the platform, and they can engage, play video games. Others can be creators, can create video games, and so on. Now check this out. Each being is having two main layers of identities to itself. One layer of identity is the layer in which the being exists outside of creation. That is its real self, similar to how when I play a video game, my real self is the one that stays with the hands connected to the laptop on the chair and playing the video game. That's my real self, the one that exists outside of the avatar and the story playing within the laptop, right? That's my real self. Now, if I would play a video game, not on the laptop, but I would put a VR helmet on, then the distinction between myself and the self in the video game would become even more subtle, let's say, more thin, right? But now imagine that there is not a VR helmet, but you can, your own consciousness, let's say, your own awareness can be inserted into creation, and that's almost like a one-on-one merge within creation. So what happens is that when the being enters creation, a split happens. It's a main split that happens inside that being between the self that is existing outside of creation and the self that now embodies a soul within creation. So there are two main identities to each being that finds itself in this reality now, in this creation. The identity that it has outside of creation, where it is its own being. I'm trying to put it in simple terms. Don't take these words as literal words. Don't take the words that anybody says as truth. You need to take these only as pointers. The words that I'm saying or anybody else is saying, they're just like pointers. There's like signs on a map. You don't take this as being the truth. The map is not a territory. These are just pointers to point you to maybe some portions of yourself, to clarify your own mind a bit for you, so that you can surf and in the territory of your being and find out what the truth actually is. Because check this out, just to make a short detour here with this message or this conversation. No one, like, check this out. No one can give you the truth, because the truth is unspeakable, it's unthinkable, because the real truth exists outside of the video game, outside of creation. So anything that you hear here in creation, in this reality, and the words that you hear, the images that you see, the instincts that you have, even the imaginations that you can have, all the images that appear in your mind, all the feelings that you feel, all the ideas that you hear or that come to you in your own mind, everything that you experience here in this reality, from your own feelings, your own visions, your own ideas, your own intuitions, your own instincts too, the visions, ideas, feelings, intuitions, words of other people, all happen in creation. They are all inside the video game. So not even your own deepest feelings, not even your deepest thoughts or so, cannot point you to the truth. The truth can only be experienced by that part of you that lives outside of creation. That is the only part that actually can experience the truth, but it will not be able to come and tell it to your mind. It will not be able to describe it for your mind. Even you yourself will not be able to say with words, with concepts, with images, with anything, what your truth actually is, because even if you might know it extremely well, you might perfectly know and understand what that truth is, but you'll not be able to bring it here in the video game with concepts, ideas, images, feelings, visions, intuitions, anything at all cannot touch this. So, these words are not the truth. These words are just pointers. Pointers that could guide you to clarify your own mind a bit, so you can find that instance of yourself that lives outside of creation. So then don't take this as being the literal truth, because my mind here might not have the most perfect words, might not have the most perfect concepts. It's just a human mind. It might try to describe reality by what it has learned and seen in this lifetime or in the lifetime of the soul, in the but it might not actually have the proper words. Maybe other minds, or maybe there are other ways in which to say this same thing that I'm trying to say with in better ways. So don't take these words as being the truth. The words are not the truth. The words are just pointers to the truth. Just let the words sink in as they may in yourself without trying to judge them too much, without trying to say, oh yeah, but that means that, and then don't like stay away from getting caught up in words in the mind. Just let the energy of them sink in yourself. Um, and see in yourself how your own being develops, if it develops, after coming into contact with information like this one that is transmitted from this human being or from other human beings or from your own self. Because you can transmit this information to yourself as well. You can sit in a room with yourself and you can just have a pen and paper or just stay with yourself and ask yourself questions about yourself, and you'll see that you'll start to feel answers. You'll start to perceive some truths about yourself. Okay, so getting back. There are two main identities that each being that finds itself in this reality has. One is the identity that it has outside of creation, which is its real true nature, its real true identity. When I say outside of creation, I mean in the natural reality that I prefer to keep it undescribable because it actually is undescribable, as I mentioned now, for our minds. It cannot be described, it cannot be imagined, it cannot be perceived or imagined by our mind, our senses, our mental senses, I mean. So one is that reality which you can only experience it through your own beingness, which beingness exists outside of creation, which beingness exists in the natural reality. And the other identity is the identity a being takes on when it enters creation. When it puts that VR helmet on and it enters and it opens that platform of video games, it has already been given another identity, and that's the soul. It has been given a soul. The second identity is the soul identity, which the soul, because it exists only in the video game, it feels completely, utterly unaware of the identity that exists outside of creation. The soul is like an AI program, like an avatar, like a first avatar, that is created like a body for the being to interact in the virtual world. Because the soul only exists within creation, it has no recollection of anything existing outside of creation. Similar to how an avatar in a video game that you're playing has no recollection of you, this is how the soul has no recollection of your being. Now, there are certain mechanics which make the subject for another video or another recording, or maybe even the subject can be so extended that it might take 3-4 recordings to cover it, if I will ever make them. But there are certain mechanics that make that inside the video game the soul can increase its self-identity, increase its soul identity so much that it actually almost completely, the awareness of that being that entered into creation almost completely forgets its instance outside of creation. Because why that happens is because once you start entering a video, you have entered the platform of video games, right? You have already a soul, but you haven't yet choose a video game. You haven't entered into a specific creation to play. You haven't yet created anything or nor experienced anything. So in that instance where you haven't yet entered into any video game specifically, you're just there in creation looking at the everything, you're just in that place of nothing, everything now. It's just there, looking at everything unfolding. You haven't yet entered into any of it to play it. Even though it's marvelous and you're just looking at all the video games, everything unfolding, all the players, everything is right before your eyes. You can just stay like that for eternities and just watch everything. Similar to how people in this reality they just spend nights watching other players play video games. This is how you can stay there at that first level of creation and just look at everything without even wanting to get involved, because it's marvelous already. It's like mind-blowing to see all of it exist, the entire creation. Imagine looking at the entire creation unfolding before your eyes, with everything ever existing, all the possible creations, everything, and constantly emerging new creations and everything. You're there with all of it. While you're there with all of it, you can still have a bit of detachment from it, because you're seeing everything, and it's like at that first level of creation you still have a bit of, not memory, but a bit of feel, a bit of like that you're that being that exists outside of creation, that sits on a chair, let's say, and has its hands connected to the laptop or has that VR helmet on. So you're still at that first level of creation. There is still a recollection of sense. I wouldn't call it memory, because it's like that the memory is gone when you're entering creation. You're completely split from that other part of yourself. But there is a sort of like feeling, it's a recollection. It's like you can get out, you can pull the VR helmet off when you want. It's like you can still know you're yourself that exists outside of creation. But once you engage with a certain creation, it's like similar to engaging with a certain video game here in this reality. Your attention is being pulled much more into the story of that video game. Even if you watch how your own mind and your own awareness works here in this reality, you can see that once you open your laptop to play a video game, there is already a level of engagement with the laptop. There is already a level of not completely knowing anymore, or not completely being completely in touch with your own instance of sitting on a chair, or with your body sitting on the chair, and so on. You're already, let's say, half of you, it's already involved in what it does in the laptop, like searching for the icons, doing that, searching, going online, searching for that multiplayer online platform that you want to connect and play the video game with. So you're already engaged with the laptop, but you still have a recollection of yourself you're not fully engaged. You still have a recollection of your body, or somewhat a recollection of your body, right? But when you go online and you choose that video game that you're playing and you are entering the video game, then it's like you're almost fully absorbed there. You get fully absorbed in the video game, and you almost completely forget this instance of you sitting on a chair. You almost become fully identified. Your awareness goes fully in the video game. You're the character. You now have a business there. You're fighting things. You're racing cars or whatever you do in the video game, you're almost 99% of your awareness is there without almost having no recollection of this thing here. This is similar to how it happens for the being, for our being, when it enters creation. When it enters creation at the first level, it still has a sort of recollection of itself, but when it engages a certain creation, it enters and plays within that creation, then it's almost like 99% of that being identifies with the avatar it is playing as, and the creation and the story within creation, in the story within that specific creation it is playing in, and so on. Now, back to our own business here. We find ourselves in this creation. Everything here is a mind. Everything here is within the virtual real. Nothing here, nothing that you can perceive is real. Let me say this again. Nothing that you can perceive is actually real. Meaning, not only that what you perceive with your five senses is not real, but what you perceive with your mind, your ideas are not real. Your thoughts are not real. The visions that come to your head are not real. Even your intuitions are not real. The imaginations are not real. The memories are not real. In the sense that they are not who you are outside of creation. They are real in creation. For example, you can have intuitions, but these intuitions are only telling you things from creation. You can have memories. You can remember instances of your own soul, what you did in that other universe, or what you have created, or what. But this is still in creation. You're basically remembering other instances from the video game. You're not remembering who you are outside of the video game. That cannot be remembered. So, everything that you perceive is not an illusion, but it's like it has the consistency of a video game. Everything that you perceive with all your senses, including feelings, feelings only exist within the video game. They are translating to you a higher reality, an energetic reality that exists within the video game. So, check this out. The only thing within yourself that knows reality, that true real reality that exists outside of the video game, is your true self. Is that being that exists outside of you and outside of the video game. And that being, hear this out through these human words, which might be faulty, but I'm like, my mind is doing its best to find the best words to explain this, but hear this out. Your beingness has nothing to do. Nothing to do. It's almost like it has nothing to do with what you see, with the stories that you perceive in this reality, with anything that you perceive in this reality. It's a completely different thing, similar to how a person that is playing a video game on the laptop has nothing to do with anything that it can find in the video games. The person is not a car, the person is not a avatar that from it's not like a hero from that. It's completely something else. And even if you play like The Sims, which simulate playing a human story, still is not your story. So what you are here, on the person who sits on the chair with its hands connected to the laptop, it's something completely different than anything that happens within the laptop. So what you are as your being is something completely different than anything that happens in creation. And because of this, you yourself can only experience You can only experience your beingness and what you really are through direct experience. Now, the last part of this recording is to get a bit inside the story we are in right now. So inside this story that we find ourselves right now, here on Earth, right? We have a human body, we have a soul, we have a mind. This is our threefold consciousness that we inhabit while on Earth, while inside the story. This is our avatar. This threefold consciousness is our avatar here. The soul, mind, body. Okay. Inside the story of Earth right now, as you can probably sense within yourself, through your own feelings, or senses, or whatever senses that you feel, even if it's intuition or your own senses that you physically see, that the story of Earth is currently, let's say, undergoing some change right now. So it's becoming more and more obvious. It has started since, I think, even if I would be asked, I would say it started maybe even 200 years ago, but it became more prominently with like 1930s, 1950. That was another stage, and then after 2000 it was another stage, and now it's highly accelerated. So it feels, not only from my own perspective, but from what I've heard from others describing and perceiving this, is like it feels that there's definitely a change going on with Earth right now, with the story. There is a shift, and from my own perception, this game with Earth, as we knew it until now, it's closing on. It's closing off. So Earth is closing off. This story is closing off. Psst. So even yesterday I heard a video somebody made. It's a woman called Amanda Dreamer, and she was explaining about her recent experience with psilocybin mushrooms, and she took a bit of a higher dose, and she was explaining like on those mushrooms it was clear, like she went to the Galactic Council or something, and she saw that Earth, currently the timelines on Earth are clashing, and the reality here is closing off. So even if I don't have that level of perception to see so clearly what is happening, I'm still feeling clearly that this is shutting off. So reality on Earth, it feels, the story of Earth right now inside this video game, it's closing. So it's shifting, it's changing. If you want to hear more about her own experience, you can go find her latest video. But there are other people which I might not have encountered, that I'm sure they are, because I can feel them, that they are putting the same content right now online. So they are speaking about this. I can feel them, but I don't know who they are. So they are out there. Maybe if any of you know them, you can share. But the idea is that Earth is going through a shift right now. So what I'm personally seeing is that there are two options right now. There are two main directions of where this shift leads. And any person here, in my opinion, and from what I'm seeing, can find itself in one of these two directions. One direction is that Earth is undergoing a change. It's actually three directions, I think, but it's mainly two. But one of it has two nuances to it. But let me explain. So I'm seeing that Earth right now is undergoing a change. It shifts. Definitely something changes. Like everything that happened in the past is closing off right now. All the storylines, all the timelines, so-called timelines, it's storylines in fact, but all the storylines are freaking shutting off. There is no more reincarnation on Earth happening. as we did it in the past. So it's closing off. So what I'm seeing, what this is my personal vision of it. I don't know how others are seeing it, but I'm just telling my own vision on it. So don't take it as the truth. Go and search other perspectives and see if this has any sense. Or, but what I'm seeing is that there are two main directions. One of it is like Earth is entering into a new story, and what I'm seeing is that very, very few souls are entering into that story with Earth. Very, very, very few souls have upgraded themselves enough into for entering into that story, into that new story of Earth. Earth will continue a new. Earth is creating a new story. It has created it already, but now is started to activate it and implement it. It has worked on creating a new story for itself. Now it's actively working at implementing it. So only very few souls that, let's say, vibrate with the same frequency of that story. I'm using just general terms right now. This is, by the way, these are not my usual words. I usually refrain from speaking in these terms like frequencies and vibrations, but just to get the message across faster, because I want to get to a different thing that I want to say with this recording here. I'm just using general terms so I can move past this message faster, because this is not my main topic of interest right now to speak about Earth. So yeah, I will just use general terms. So Earth is moving in a new story. It has created a new story of itself, for itself. It has started to activate that story, and only few souls from the old Earth are allowed, not allowed, but their own soul, only the soul of few souls match what the Earth, the new painting Earth has made, the new vibration Earth created. So only those souls will enter into that new stage. The other souls, I think, will either... That's the true Earth, I mean. That's the true story of Earth that will continue right now. That is already started to unfold. So the souls, how I'm seeing it is that it has started from many years already. And some souls have been transitioning to that new Earth from many, many years. And the other souls that, let's say, didn't make it in that boat were transitioned to what I'm seeing as another layer of virtual Earths that are not that real Earth. And the scope of these virtual Earths was created, if I'm seeing this correctly, so that they can finish their story, their present lifetime, their present story, and then they can go into the next stage of the astral and whatever. And then from there, I don't know what happens because I'm not having the vision so clear, but it seems like from there, when they finish this storyline, this lifetime in the virtual versions of Earth, then they will exit this Earth reality, and when in the astral, they can choose if they can upgrade their soul enough through other experiences to come back to the real Earth, or they will just make other experiences in other places. Although I still feel that all the souls that ended up on Earth had a special mission. This is why they came here, and they have to finish that mission. But this is not my main topic of interest, so I'll close it here, because this is not my main topic of interest for this video. I want to talk about something else. So this is one direction. Earth is creating a new story. Some souls that match the frequency of that story are already started to move on that Earth, move with that Earth and that true version of Earth. And they will enter into a new story of Earth. And when that story gets completely activated, it will be really fully a new earth for those souls. It will not be anything related to what happened in the past. All the timelines will be destroyed. All timelines will be destroyed, and it will not matter anymore, anything that happened in the past, because it will be a completely new story, which is already, some souls are already transitioning to that. But for some other souls, and this is my main topic of interest basically for this video, for some other souls, this shift right now, it's like a door opening. The storyline here with Earth ends. Earth is creating a new story. Whomever goes into that new story already is, let's say, not programmed, but it's already decided. The souls, according to their vibration, according to their contract or whatever, the work that they have done during all these cycles, they are going with that Earth. But in this moment of the shift, something else happens. It's like a door opens, and it's like you're playing a video game, and all of a sudden, the video game that you have played ends, and you have a choice. You have a choice to go with that new video game, a new video game that, hey, like a pop-up coming, hey, do you want to come and check this one out? Or in that moment, you can also step away from the video game. You can remember, okay, so I was staying here playing at the computer. Should I want to go into the new video game? But it's like a recollection of yourself, or your true self also happens in that moment when the video game ends. So when this earth will clash, when all these stories will end, I know that's not correctly phrased. It's like this is already ending. And this is why there are two things that happen right now. Some souls are wakened up to the real nature, to the real beingness that exists outside of creation, and other souls are just impulsed to follow the earth in its new chapter, in its new story. So it's like a gateway opening right now. And some of the souls, I'm speaking specifically from things that I remember about my being outside of creation, and others that I remember that are similar beings to me. There are some beings that have entered into this earth story only to play in this ending chapter, only to, let's say, not help, but bring something here that has made this entire story, made Earth with its entire souls, with everything, make this quantum jump to the next level. So some beings have, for this special stage, when Earth made this jump from the past, its past, let's say, how can you call that? Its past self, in a way. It's like a snake that has lived, and then when the earth has evolved enough, it has shed its own skin, and it has moved to the next stage of itself. But shedding the old skin off is become something new. It's like a butterfly that comes out of a mold, or how do you call that? No, it's not mold. It's like that thing that I don't know how it's called in English, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so at the moment of this transition, there was this special thing that was required. It's like you're cooking something, or you're making a potion, an alchemical potion. You need some specific substances that are very, very rare, let's say, to make that special combustion. And these very, very rare substances were brought from outside of creation. There were beings that came here at this very special moment when Earth needed to make this combustion, that came here only for this moment. These beings that came had no interest in creation, in all of it, I mean. They had no interest in playing games. It's like they had no interest in playing video games whatsoever. They just knew they had to perform a certain, if they wanted, because they took that decision. Anyway, they took that decision to come here and give a certain substance, a certain, it's not vibration, it's something else, a certain substance to Earth in that specific moment. It's not to Earth, it's like to the entire creation. Because Earth was only like a sort of like epicenter in which the entire creation was creating something new. So it came, these beings came from outside of creation to give something to the entire creation through that story of Earth in that specific moment to help the entire creation make this something new for itself. I don't know how to explain it better than this at this moment. So these beings only came here to give this thing, and then they knew that when that thing would be achieved, the door would open and they would be able to get out of it. So this second type of beings, they were not interested to come here in the video game to play the video game. They came here to just give that thing and then get out, like come back to their natural senses and their natural world outside of creation. So for these other types of beings, which in my opinion, they are very, very few and very, very like very, very few and very, very, you will not be able to tell that they are, it's anything special about them. You'll not be able to say anything about them. They will not, they are very, very well disguised. They themselves might not know who they are and what they are doing. Um, so these beings that came here from outside of creation have no karma to their soul in a way. They had no implications of playing in the stories, like choosing sides, like saying, oh, that one is bad and that one is good, or entering into this entire story of Earth, of evil fighting light, fighting dark, or whatever. They had no interest in neither light nor dark. They were completely uninterested. They came here with another purpose, just to perform their duty, add that substance to the equation, and finish their duty and get out. So for these beings, for this second type of beings, when Earth right now ends, is that they slowly, slowly, the door opens and they come to their senses. They come back to their beingness. They come back to their natural, true self. So this is one of the things that I wanted to touch in this recording, to say that whatever goal you have for yourself, which, as I mentioned in another video, the one with called Is This Insanity, I mentioned there about the two main goals that you can have. But you can't create these goals. These goals are are created for you. So one goal that you can find in yourself is the goal to go with Earth in the new story. And you cannot create this goal, you cannot alter this goal. This goal either is created by your own soul at a higher level of yourself. You can't control it as a human being. This is not dependent upon your human being. So it either is like this or it isn't. The other goal, which is also undecided by you, is to get outside of the entire creation and back to your normal sense of your being that you are outside of creation. This is already not undecidable. You can't change this. You can't. It's already decided for you. So the other goal that you could have is to be a soul that doesn't go with Earth in the new story. Oh my god, this is so complex. I'm seeing so many things about this. If I could go on maybe 1 more hour if I would go into what's happening right now with the souls and the Earth, but you'll be safe. Anyway, just know that whatever happens from now on, you'll be safe. Like you will return to your normal, natural, a more normal, natural condition. Even if you go with Earth, you'll be safe. Even if you don't go with Earth, you'll be safe because you return to what your soul was doing before coming here on Earth. You're maybe on another planet or in another universe or playing in another video game that is more natural. It's more true to your home. You feel safe. Even if you go outside of creation, you feel safe. So what happens from now on is just safety. From all the perspectives, it doesn't matter. It's just you feel more natural, more true, more safe, more secure, more who you are. So you'll come back to who you are, independent of what that means. So this was the main conclusion that I wanted to get with this recording, is that the reality on Earth right now is closing on. The X reality, the old reality, everything that happened for the last cycle of time here on Earth is closing off. This is like the end of a cycle right now. It's not the end of an era. It's the end of who knows how much. I don't know how much. Some say the cycle has 4 million years. I don't know. This is a lot of time. Okay, so it's ending right now. Some say it's only 12,000 years. Who knows? I don't care about this because experience is independent of time. You can have so much experience in one day. Who quantifies experience, right? So it doesn't matter years. You can stay 10,000 years in the same mundane experience, nothing changes, so you live to 10,000 years for nothing, in a way, for just a small piece of upgrade. But you can live a day and you can upgrade so much in a day that it's like living for millions of years. So who quantifies that? Anyway, but Earth is closing right now. The X reality is closing. This is ending. So check this out. Because this is a video game, and your mind and your soul exist as entities inside the video game. If you try at this moment to relinquish on your mind or your soul to help you through this transition, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, it might make you feel completely scared because your mind was connected to the mind of Earth and your soul was connected to the soul of Earth, and these are changing right now. You might find yourself extremely afraid because you'll see that your whole world will change. If you're identified with your mind and your mind is changing, you might feel you're going insane, or you feel you're losing all sense of reason, or everything that you knew falls apart, or stuff like that. If you feel identified with your soul and you see that your soul feels so alien and so detached from what it felt and what it perceived reality, again, you might feel freaked out. So what I've made this video about is to make a call to stay within your body. Basically, the entire video was just an explanation to get to this message, which is very short and very concise. This is a message that I felt last night while I was staying in bed. The body is the safe house right now. Whatever goal you have, whatever journey you are on, this entire transition that is happening right now, this entire shift, will feel and will be experienced in your experience much more safe, much more natural, much more secure, fearless, if you stay within your physical body. Keep your awareness as much as you can within your body. Stay within the physical body. Stay here. Stay with your awareness in your body, in your what is actually happening right now, right here, to you. In your hands, in the sense of your hands, in the sense of your being a human here. Stay here in the body. Stay as much as you can away from having your awareness in the mind or having your awareness in your soul. Just stay within the body, rest within the body, and you'll see what I mean. The body has been our totem for the entire time. You know, the body is the safe place, is the, oh my God, check this out. The body is the temple. You know how God said that in religion, in Christian scripture, has said that the body is my temple. Check this out. The body is the temple, is the holy temple, is that untouchable territory if that nobody can touch. I know, bear with me a bit and I will explain it further what I'm seeing. The body is the safe ground. The body is the holy church. The body is the holy temple. And you know how holy temples and churches were those that even if there were battles, nobody could touch that safe ground, that safe house, that holy place, that holy ground. Like they were battling, conquering territories, but in the church there were no enemies anymore. They couldn't battle in the church. There were, that was the agreement. This is the body. If you stay with your awareness within your body, you will be safe. It has always been like this, paradoxically. It's not only at this moment of transition. The idea is that, check this out, when you enter into creation, there is a thread line that connects your entire experience. Everything, all the games that you have ever played, it's like a tree of life. Wherever you go on the tree and wherever you experience, there is a thread line going through all of those experiences. It's like the sip of the tree that exists everywhere in the tree. That thread line has always been the body. So wherever you found yourself in creation, you could always be safe within your body. If you went into your body, when I say you, I mean your awareness. If your awareness went into the body, it was safe. It was all of the sudden safe. Independent of the games, independent of where it was, if it went into the body, it was safe. The idea that happened in this present human reality, because this was like such an extreme experience, it was that human beings were scared to get out of their bodies. Things happen in this reality to scare us away from our body, to make us flee from our body, and we flow, how do you call that? We flown, or we we went into our minds or into our souls. We didn't stay within the body. Something scared us and we went away from the body. This is trauma. This is when life energy, life awareness goes from the body into the mind. That's the tertiary split. Anyway, so not only through this transition that the earth is making, but through any experience you might ever have in creation, just remember this thing. Your body is your temple. Just remember this thing. Keep it with you. Your body is your temple. Remember your body. This is what keeps you safe. Bring back awareness to your physical body, and you'll see what I mean. Stay within your physical body, and you'll see what I mean. Rest here within the body. Be the body. Just quiet everything down. Let the mind tell you whatever it wants. Because the mind, when you go back to the physical body, you will see that your mind will say, no, what if I'm going to the body and then I will be hurt, and then uh, maybe I'll be remain like this. Everyone will evolve, and I will remain here like this animal. The mind tries to trick you that your body is an animal, that your body is like an involuted creature that cannot think for itself or cannot make decisions, or it's like the mind thinks that it itself needs to operate the body and it is smarter than the body. But check this out, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a trick that your mind tries to play upon you, the awareness, to make you stay out of your body. Just Go back within the body, go back into your temple, go back to your safe place, and you will understand what I mean. And in this moment of transition and all other moments that could exist here in creation, just remember this thing: your body is your temple. Your body is the tree of life. It remembers everything, it knows, and not only that, your body is connected with the beingness that exists outside of creation. I feel almost crying in my eyes because the body is the representation of God in creation. This is why the body is my temple. This is why it's a safe place. This is why nobody could ever touch it. Find the awareness in your body and you'll understand what I mean. Be inside your body in this moment of transition and it will feel, it is being in the body, it is safe, it is secure, it is knowledgeable, it is even more than that. You will understand much more than this. But I don't want to say it because I want anyone who listens to this to make their own experience. So it will be real. So just this. Stay within the body, rest here, and trust. Trust this. Trust this and you will understand.